Okay, so back
Hello
east.
again.
Hello, heading back east.
Yep, so week 30.
Week 30.
So we've pulled ourselves off the couch once again.
Yep.
And started the journey back across.
Yep, back to Melbourne.
Towards Melbourne, heading towards Melbourne. But first of all, we had a little stop at the Camera Museum.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yep.
Which is a really crazy... So we headed towards Merredin and towards Kalgoorlie, and on the way to Merredin, there's this building that looks like a camera.
Yep.
It's shaped like a camera. And he has the biggest private collection of cameras.
Yeah, especially basically from right at film. It's early digital too, but a lot of film, old film stuff.
Back to Kodak and...
Yeah, Instamatic stuff and it's really quite interesting.
It was an interesting museum, wasn't it? I probably thought it was a little bit expensive at $15 a head. But it was very interesting, and it was a huge collection of photos. If you're not into photography, you're probably not going to be interested at all. Yeah. But someone is very interested in cameras and photography, so we went in. But from there, then we went on to
Merredin, to the farm stay
for an overnight stop.
And that was awesome. We timed it perfectly because we got the most. So we got invited there by Dave and Amanda.
You might remember we met them in week 4 at Palm Valley, and then we stayed with them in week 26, just south of Perth, and they were the ones that had the hot tub that we found it hard to drag ourselves away from. Yeah. So they invited us to call in and see them on our way home, and they were staying at friends' house. Letitia and Kevin's place, who have a farm.
Yeah, and it's about halfway between Kalgoorlie and Perth, so at Merredin.
So it was perfect.
But there was this awesome storm coming through, and the lighting was just brilliant.
It was amazing, wasn't it?
As the sunset, the clouds were, it was just full on.
And that with all the farm equipment, because there were all these old trucks there and old mechanics there.
Yeah, and Kevin and Letitia sort of arranged this sort of just old farm equipment, and it's almost like a museum outside at their house, and it's just amazing.
It looked fantastic, didn't
absolutely spectacular. So literally it was as that storm came through, Amanda and I were running around for about an hour, just madly taking click, photographing just whatever we could. Yeah. And that was great. Yeah. So it was excellent. And a nice stay, beautiful dinner there.
Those
fantastic
clouds were
people.
Fascinating. And the colours were just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was magic.
Unbelievable. It was beautiful. So from there we went on to Kalgoorlie and just had a quick overnight stop in Kalgoorlie. Probably could have spent a little bit longer there, but
spent a couple of nights in Kalgoorlie. This is a lot of nice old buildings, a historic old gold mining town. Yeah. And a huge pit. That pit is massive, and so you can drive out to and it's still operational mine. It's called Giant Pit. It's operational, so you can go to a sort of looking platform. They've got a lot of information there on it, and you can still see the trucks making their way out the side. And the trucks are just like tiny little dots in this huge pit. It's huge. It's amazing. Yeah. So.
And Hannon Street, which is the main street, but so that's got some beautiful old historic buildings.
Yep.
Went into the pub,
York Hotel. Had a drink and some chips, and that was nice. Just chilled out on the balcony there. So
we would have gone to the brothel, but it was closed.
Oh yeah.
The day we were there, unfortunately. So
brothel tour. You can do a tour of
we didn't get into I think it's one of the oldest brothels in Australia or something. So that's meant to be a really great tour.
Yeah,
and really interesting.
Tour,
but sadly we missed that. So next time, always good to leave something for next time.
That's right.
And from Kalgoorlie we headed towards Norseman.
Yep.
Again, we didn't really stop in Norseman, but we did stop in at the Lynn Webb.
Yeah, photo gallery. And it was
He's
actually open, and his photography's beautiful.
Yeah,
and
he's got some beautiful photos.
And a nice guy to just stop and have a chat to too. So when you go through Norseman, make sure you call and check out his gallery there. It's not, you can't really miss it. It's kind of right there on the main street as you drive through.
Right next to the roundabout with the camels on the roundabout. But
he's got some really good information on spots around there too, so it's good to call and have a bit of a chat to. And he basically told us to, on our way past, stop in at Afghan Rocks.
Yeah.
And that was really nice. That was a nice stop on the way through. So you just got to open a bit of a gate and drive through, and you can get into this Afghan Rocks. And so we spent sort of half an hour there just wandering around, taking some photographs. You could camp
there. He said you could camp there. There's no facilities. It would just be a free camp.
If you're fully self-contained and you've got everything you need, you can camp overnight there, and it's a really nice spot.
Yeah. The textures there, that's what I liked about it. The textures on the rocks were just beautiful,
and the colour formations.
Kind of looked like a moon landscape or something.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
So they weren't big rocks, imposing rocks. They were more flat rocks, but just with interesting textures and beautiful look to them. And that was just before Balladonia. Yeah. So we called in, there's the roadhouse there, and you can go into the museum and the Sky Lab, which is not very big. It's just a small,
that's just on the side of the
little room.
Yeah, the roadhouse there. And they've got sort of some bits of the crash of NASA's
Sky Lab. Yeah, it was a space station that crashed, I think in 1979 or something. It crashed to Earth and crashed into Valedonia. So that's what Valedonia is famous for, apparently. So you get to see that. That's pretty cool. It's a bit of fun, something a bit different. And then we stayed overnight in Wilbur free camp, which was nice enough. Free camp, just on the road, basically. So there's a whole lot of different free camps you can do.
Didn't really leave that Nullarbor road, that through to So that was the goal, was just to stay on there and get home. So yeah. But not far off that is. And when we say not far, it's literally metres off the road is the blowhole at Caiguna.
Caiguna. That was crazy. Because it's so close to the road that you think, how does the road not collapse with all these trucks going?
Well, hopefully maybe there's no blowholes underneath the road. Engineers may have looked into that.
I'd hope so. Yeah. I'd think so. But apparently all along there is that underneath it's quite.
I think it's all limestone or something. So the sort of water's coursed through and underneath there, but that's all part of that longest stretch of road in Australia. That's like 90 straight miles. There's no turns, no bends. It's just you're driving straight for 90 miles, which is it's a fairly long straight drive.
It was long, but then the whole drive along there is long.
Yeah,
and there are many long drives in Australia, straight drives where you're just waiting for a bend. We also stopped in at the Telegraph station at Eucla. So the Ucla Roadhouse and hotel looked beautiful, didn't they? They looked gorgeous. We didn't stay there, but they looked. Yeah,
that'd be nice. That's a nice spot for an overnight too.
Really nice spot.
Pushing on through there, and they've got a caravan park and all that. So, but the old Telegraph station at Eucla is pretty interesting. It's all kind of
pretty iconic, isn't it?
Yeah, it sort of has sands come in and then sand blows away and it comes in again, and it's kind of like it's an ever-changing sort of landscape through there. So that was pretty cool. I've been there once before, years ago as a kid, but it was really good to have a bit of a look at that, the old Telegraph station.
And you can't go along across the Nullarbor there and across the bottom of Australia and not stop at the Bunda Cliffs.
Yeah, that whole area, the Bunda Cliffs and that right through the Great Australian Bight. There's some amazing scenery, but the best scenery that we saw was the Bunda Cliffs.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was quite cloudy and overcast and really windy.
Really windy, but it's generally pretty windy there. But if you got a setup where wind is not an issue, then look at just sort of camping the night at Bunda Cliffs, because we drove into that campsite there and there wasn't too many people around. There was just a couple of vans in there.
And I reckon you could kind of shield behind some of the there's a few little trees and a few.
There's mounds and there's sort of little dunes that you can get in behind and that, so you can find a little bits of shelter in that. But
on the actual the cliffs, it was so standing on the edge there. What I liked also was there was this funky little, I don't know if you saw this, there was this funky little rock garden where people had written their name on rocks and left it in a little garden. So all these travellers had just left rocks. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
I thought that was really cool. And when we go back, we're writing our name on a rock and leaving it.
No doubt we
leaving it there.
No doubt at all.
So if you go, take your little rock.
Oh, you have to bring your own rock?
I think you take your own rock.
Yeah, okay, I suppose they'll start to run short of rocks.
Yeah, well, there weren't a lot of rocks there.
A lot of sand.
A lot of sand, yeah.
Yeah, but so that's awesome, well worth the stop in there, whether you're just stopping for half an hour to have a bite of lunch or just take some photos and check it out. But the Bunda Cliffs, absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it's kind
there's
of a
different ones.
It's a must-see
there's different
stop,
spots called the Bunda Cliffs along the way, but yeah, I think any of them must be pretty good. The ones we stopped at were certainly awesome. So, and then we had an overnight at the Nullarbor Hotel.
Yeah, you have to stay at the Nullarbor Hotel. It's it's just iconic.
If you stay at Bunda Cliffs, there's no point staying at Nullarbor Hotel because they're like 20 minutes away from each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but if you don't want to stay at Bunda Cliffs, you can stay at Nullarbor Hotel.
Yeah.
That was what we did.
And if you do stay at the Nullarbor Hotel, there's not much there. It's in the middle of in the middle of nowhere because there's nothing around. Nullarbor literally means no trees, so there's nothing around. But no trees. That's what it means. But there is inside the hotel. If you go into the dining area, the bar, there's a mural of iconic Australian singers. So then you've got to see how many you can pick.
We didn't get them all. There's one we didn't get.
There's one that we just cannot work out who she is.
Yeah.
Someone suggested it could be
Kate Sobrano. So that could have been too.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that was week 30.
Week 30. I loved
that was
crossing.
a lot. There was a lot in there to stop and see. It's a shame we had to kind of scooch through there that quickly. It would have been nice to have stayed a few nights at the farm and done it a bit slower. But we had a reason we had to get back sort of to Melbourne a little bit earlier than expected. So hence the sort of getting a wriggle on through there. But,
going quickly.
But yeah, if you can spend a bit of time going through,
you can do it. Like we stopped at places, extra places that we didn't think we would necessarily stop at, like the Afghan Rocks and things like that, and a few little extra places, I guess. Whereas, so you could do it pretty quickly and quite comfortably, but yeah, it would have been nice to be able to take a little bit of extra time to come across. And just a bit more casually. It also would have been nice if it wasn't so windy and overcast as we came across, particularly around Bunda Rocks. But
anyway,
can't control the weather.
No, that's it. So anyway, that was week 30.
And week 30.
See you at week 31.
See you next week. Bye.